This is Chris, the Stat Guy, and welcome to the Stat Guy Show.
I think that's one thing that we do good at is putting on a show.
We live on the Statman Show, and I know people and powers that be, I know that you watch this show.
If Donald Long wants to dust some of that Cheeto dust off and buy him a car and put Stevie Fast in it, I'm all for it.
So when the Stat Guy came out and started doing all this for us, man, it's amazing to see all the different stats, and it's stuff that helps you out.
What is up? Welcome to the Stat Guy Show, episode number 84. Joining me tonight is a veteran of drag racing, a multiple-time race winner and champion, one of the original Stat Guy supporters, Mr. Jim Howe. How you doing, man?
And I'm good. How about you, buddy?
Good, man. It's been a little bit. It's been like I had to look back today. It's been about 9 months since you were last on the show. So I appreciate you coming on. I know there's been a lot that's been going on with you specifically for the last 9 months. Like I said, we talked almost to the end of the season of No Prep Elite. First thing I want to ask you is in your busy off season, obviously you are no longer with No Prep Kings, which is called Speed Promotions Racing. How did that come about? What happened there? And was it just time to move on?
Man, it's a whirlwind, actually, and I'm blessed that, first of all, I want to tell everybody that I raced with and the fans and all the stuff that we did. I had a great time. It was a good experience. There are several factors that played into me going a different direction. And we're kind of in a rebuilding phase, if you would, here. But, one of the biggest factors is Horsepower for Kids nonprofit organization. I started a couple years ago doing what we're doing with the kids. There's a lot that goes into what we do with the schools and with the kids and with organizations. We have to be able to plan ahead of time. That's the biggest thing. So when we couldn't get a schedule going into 2025, so that I could nail down what we needed to do with these schools, I can't wait till the last minute to get this stuff done. The stuff that we're doing with the schools became far more important to me. Teaching the kids about skilled trades and follow their dreams. It became a passion really quick. And I was honestly kind of led down the path that this is what I'm happy doing. I'm most happy working with these kids and doing the stuff that we're doing. We're trying to build a big tech center here in Middle Tennessee. There's just so much to it that I can see the future of our sport and the future of these kids' future, that I just had to make the decision that, like, we can't do this anymore. I can't wait until the last minute to get a schedule when we're promised we're going to get it and not getting it for 3 months later. I just can't do that, and it's hard to schedule the stuff at the schools. That was one of the major factors. The other factor is obviously I see some changes that I don't necessarily agree with, and there's been little things along the way. There seemed to be some rules that were good for thee but not for me. I got disqualified at Bowling Green for testing inside the 200-mile radius when I tested in London, Kentucky, and we weren't hiding it. We posted it. We did a live video when we were over there. Oversight on my part, but that was just an oversight, and the rules do not say that you're disqualified. It says it's up to the producers, and there's several ways that could have happened. But Instead, they elected to throw me out, where they allowed other guys to do the same thing, and they didn't penalize them. And then going into Texas, I needed an extra 15 minutes to get the car ready to make the semifinals to run Murder Nova, and we were 2 rounds out of winning the championship. I was told no, couldn't get the 15 minutes. Then, another thing that also weighed heavily is we rolled into Tulsa for the No Prep Elite 16. And originally, when I started this, we were guaranteed $50,000 to win. Then it was 30. Then it was 30. So last year we raced for $30,000 at every one of the races. Then at Tulsa, we get this Elite 16 format, and we're told that there's no payout. You're not racing for anything. And I said, well, I'm loading up and going home. We're not racing for free. Well, you're going to run for a $100,000 points championship. And I said, well, that points championship was in place at the beginning of the year when we've already ran all these other races. That's what we were running them for, was to win that money. So they wanted to take the points championship and divide it up amongst the last 5 races, or basically run the 5 races, and then whoever won got the $100,000. Well, that wasn't going to, $120,000, I think it was originally. So then we raised hell amongst ourselves, the racers, and so on and so forth. And then they said it was going to be $15,000 that we'd raise for. And then we got there to Tulsa, and it was $10,000. So it was just all the little things. It was just writing on the wall, I guess, for me. And we dedicated 5 years of our lives, sacrificed the business. And it wasn't just us. I mean, every one of the guys did. Everybody that did this thing, it was all something that all of us did. And the people come to watch racing. They want to watch racing, and that's evident that they do. And so all the little things like the testing deal, hey man, that's on me. Like shoulda, coulda, woulda. Maybe if I'd have done what they done, the week before Tulsa, they ran Outlaw Armageddon at Tulsa, at the very racetrack that we were racing at, and those racers that competed in that thing, they were perfectly okay to compete in the Elite 16, but I got canned and DQ'd at at Bowling Green. Somebody's saying I need a better mic, so I'm gonna move my mic closer. Maybe they can hear me better. But I didn't make excuses last year, and I'm not going to make them now. These are the things that you just asked me a question. What was it that made me decide to do that? And that's exactly what I based it on, was that it was too much little things that were just being done and going on that didn't align with what I'm trying to do in the future, and so that's really where we're at. And then most everybody here knows that I had an opportunity during the winter to partner with IHRA and start No Time Kings, and that was off to a really good start. And then we hit a snag. We hit a roadblock, and the roadblock was the acquisitions on the tracks hadn't taken place, and some of the tracks that were involved in that went to the internet and said they had not been sold. Well, as you now see, they in fact had been sold, and it created a bunch of problems within the organization and public-wise. For the public, it created some problems because then people didn't believe it, and so we stepped back and reevaluated our schedule, put it off, and then we're supposed to start our first race in Galot in just 2 weeks. And then I chose to make the announcement on this show tonight that we are going to postpone the Galot race. Everybody that's purchased tickets is going to get their money back. We've sold a lot of tickets from fans, and you are this has not been said anywhere. I am actually bringing this. My wife is sitting at home right now going, what? Guarantee it, because what I'm telling you,
holy shit,
what I'm telling you is just what I feel is best for the organization, and it's what I feel is best for the fans. And I'll tell you why. We have a lot of racers who are saying, yeah, we're going to come and support it for $5,000 to win in the big tire class, but they're not making public statements that they're going to support it. They don't want to cross the bridge and say, yeah, we're going to do it and help promote it so the fans know they're going to be there. I feel like in the sport of drag racing right now, we have taken advantage of a lot of our fans. I feel like our fans have been misled. I've already been on a tangent already, so I might as well just put it out there and I'll just say what's on my mind, because that's how it is and that's how I've always been. Speed Promotions never had 100 cars. They never had 128 cars. And I'm saying it publicly. And if you don't like it, Sam, you can hire your lawyer, tell him to come see me, and we'll talk about it. I have no problem saying this. Chris Hamilton announced 42 cars. Those are the pictures of the cars that he posted that were locked in for that race. Going into Bowling Green, they had 40 cars. That's how many they had. They did a FOMO promotion. If you don't know what FOMO is, it's fear of missing out. They did a FOMO promotion saying that they had a few spots open, when the reality is they had 80-something spots open. They picked it up to 63 cars. The whole time they advertised 128 cars were going to be there. Now, is that their fault? No, it's not. They put up $100,000 to win for a small tire race, and only 63 cars came out to run it. That's pathetic. And there's where our problem is. The fans get misled. I'm not going to put a series on that's going to mislead the fans. We're not going to hold people's money or do anything different. We are going to reschedule Galot. I've had a lot of people say it's because of the heat, even though our stuff is raced at night. We put together what everybody wanted to see and what everybody wanted to hear, and that was, we don't like sitting in the grandstands in the heat and blistering, and I get that. I wouldn't come watch a drag race sit in the heat either. So we set everything up at night. We did $55,000 guaranteed money in the big tire class, $10,000 in small tire, $5,000 in our 530/28 index, $2,000 in 6.0, and then a daily driver class. I mean, there's over almost $80,000 in guaranteed payouts, and we can't get the racers to lock in to come do it. I've heard every excuse under the book. About why they're not going to do it. They can't do it. And so it's cool. I get it. I'm not going to call out those guys. We got a little late start. So rather than have fans pay good money to come watch a race, and go do that stuff, we're going to take a different route and continue to promote, and continue to push ahead, and hopefully build a series that is something that we can all be happy with. It's pro tree. There's time slips cut in half for everybody. The reason we're doing time slips is because it eliminates any type of foul play. With that kind of money on the line, you don't have to worry about the tree being switched to 5/10 pro tree instead of 4/10 and somebody getting a red light when they shouldn't get one. It's right there on a time slip, and it's very easy to manipulate if you keep everything without a time slip and without anything like that. So all of the everything that we wanted as racers, we tried to build into this series. And now that we have it, we don't have them locking in to come race the race. So rather than have fans come out and expect to see a big bunch of cars, and definitely not going to advertise that we have a big bunch of cars that we don't have, because if you remember right, back in the winter, we started the whole lock-in deal and putting the pictures up of the guys that were going to come. And now more and more people are doing that. So I'm going to get to somebody in the chat. Don Carter, why are we talking about Street Outlaws? And he is bad-mouthing them. Stop it. Does not make you look good. Wow. Don, I will answer your question. I was asked a question as to why we're doing something, why we left what we were doing. I asked the question. I was asked the question, and I answered the question. It's not bad-mouthing them. It's telling the truth. You run a red light, and you don't blame it on the red light. You blame it on the driver. I mean, it's not the red light's fault you ran the red light. It's your fault you ran the red light. So it's not bad-mouthing them whenever it's true. These are all factual things that happened, and it's all exactly how it is. And when I'm asked that question, I'm not going to sugarcoat it. You might go through life and sugarcoat things. I'm not going to. So
Jim, you just said a whole lot. In the news of No Time Kings is, like you said, it's 100% brand new news to me. Damn, I had a bunch of questions about No Time Kings I was going to ask you, but now I have now I have another million questions going through my mind with this announcement.
Yeah, new question.
So you talk about rescheduling the Galot race. What needs to happen in the meantime? Like, what needs to happen for that race to go off? Like, what are you hoping to accomplish in the period
So
before it gets rescheduled?
here's what we're going to do. IHRA has an IHRA national event middle of October. And we're going to make that national event the Lizzie Musey Memorial Race. Lizzie and the Musey family and I are very, very, very close. And the loss of Lizzie was a huge impact on our family, a huge impact on a lot of people's families. So we want to do that for them. And that's how we're going to put it out there. We want, we want to pay homage and do the best that we can for the Musey family. But we had a bunch of people who were hating on us doing the race, saying we were trying to profit off of her name. And so this kind of puts that to rest. They won't be able to say that. We're going to put it in an IHRA national event and do something for that. What I'm looking for is, if it is the heat in July in Galot, I get it. And we understand, you know what I'm saying? So maybe our scheduling and the way everything worked out, maybe that was the issue. We're going to push ahead. And yes, Jim Teachman, anybody can get in. It's open to anybody. You don't have to be invited. It's on our Facebook page, No Time Kings. There's a website, notimekings.com. We have a lot of really good opportunities. But IHRA and Daryl's a businessman. And, Daryl and I talked a week ago, and he said, Jim, you want to run the race? Run it. He said, it's money's there. You're going to do what you're going to do. And I said, well, my thing is, I don't like taking advantage of the fans. I don't want the fans to come out and expect to see a bunch of cars and have a handful of cars and a handful of classes. That's what we're doing wrong right now. One of the things I think we're doing wrong in the sport is doing that, and it just makes everybody look bad. So we're just not. It's not for me. It's not what I want to do. We're going to continue to focus on Horsepower for Kids and continue to focus on No Time Kings. The television side of what we were doing, it's big money. It's big money to get the production crew out there and do all the stuff that we're doing, and we don't want to do it if we don't have a committee.
Right.
And it's not like it's every week. It's not like it's Arizona and then Maine the next week and so on and so forth. I mean, we put a schedule together that was going to be pretty easy for people to do. And basically we answered all the things that nobody seemed to like, that they complained about. And we haven't gotten a whole lot of people who want to jump on board. The ones who have jumped on board, I want to commend you. I want to tell all you guys that have supported us so far, it didn't go without notice, and you will be kept in the loop on everything that's going on. I just don't want to have a race where we don't have a turnout of cars and the fans are taken advantage of. I raced IHRA in the 90s, and IHRA has a special place in my heart. I won my first national event at IHRA, won my first top dragster nationals at IHRA. Like, there's just so much there, and the overall sport, I think we just need to relook at a couple things, and that's the decision that I'm going to make going into Galot. And I don't want to wait till the last minute and make some call. I made it today because it's still, a few weeks out. And it's just the best that we can do. It's not going to make everybody happy. The entry fee was free, Bruce. So it was a free entry for $55,000 in purse, guaranteed money. And plus 4 crew guys got in for free. And, it's just one of those things, like, maybe we didn't reach enough people yet. Maybe it's not out there good enough. Maybe the confusion we had earlier in the year didn't help it any. So right now we're going to back up and punt and push ahead.
So Jim, you talked about, is it lack of car count for over all the classes, or is it the lack of car count for your showcase class, the Outlaw Pros, the Pro Outlaw class?
It's lack of it in all the classes, if you want to know the truth. Like, to me, it could be that, I know one of the things I've heard a lot is, well, we're going to sit back and wait and see how it goes. And I'm like, how are you going to sit back and wait and see how it goes? Like, that's literally the recipe for disaster. Just back and wait and see how it goes. So, we'll push ahead, and we'll see what the Milan race looks like going into August. But I'm just saying that right now we got to get some guys off the fence, and they got to figure out what they want to do with these steel roof and quarter cars. Like, we're building a Pro Mod car, and I'm going to run Pro Mod. We're going to put the Guardian's going to be put on radials, and we're going to run radials with the Guardian. We're, like I said, we're just kind of revamping the way we do things here, and I hope that this thing here would take off. And I mean, we had 40 something cars racing in no time, or in No Prep Kings in 2023. There was 40 plus cars.
Mm-hmm.
And now they're drawing 16, 17. So they're like, where's the other 30 cars at? In other words, those cars are out there, and we need to back up and punt. That's just what I'm saying.
So your idea is to get those cars. Do you think at all? I mean, it's probably, drag racing like anybody. It's as much experience as you have and all your knowledge on it. Do you think it's possible that, the big tire, steel roof and quarters, no prep, and I know you weren't going to do no prep, but is it possible that that's going away? I mean, could that be one of the conclusions to what's going on right now? Are people doing more pro mod and then small tire? Is it going away between there?
It could be like that. I've seen it, like I ran a no time 28 class years and years and years ago. Way before it was ever cool. We were running no time 28 or small tire 28, small tire no time. And back then you weren't allowed to have tube chassis cars in. It was back half cars only. And I've had several racers who have reached out to me here lately and said, hey, look, we can't compete with these tube chassis cars. We can't compete with the billet head and the billet block motors. It seems to always make a circle. Like, everybody jumped over into the small tire game because there were some big money purses out there, and the bigger teams were running big tire or running something different. Well, now the bigger teams see that the money is bigger teams see that there's money there, so they're going to jump over and run the small tire stuff. And I said this years and years ago, the cream's always going to rise to the top. It's just how it is, and I can't stand here and it's the money deal. There's guys out there that have a lot of money who can't bust a grape. I mean, they ain't going to outrun anybody. And then there's guys out there who don't have a lot of money who'll drive or slap over and slap out of their lives. And so it's not a money deal, but it is the caliber of car. And I think that right now, there was a big money, like $20,000 to win 28 front side of the racetrack race back before the season got started. I want to say it was in Arkansas, and I think they only had 6 cars show up. And it was well advertised. Like 6 or 8 cars is all that showed up there. I think that, like, War in the Woods, that's a huge event, and it's been time and time again, years and years and years of it going in. And people like to go, like, War in the Woods is like Pikes Peak. You know what I'm saying? Like, you're probably going to tear some shit up there. And they go and support it because it's a sketchy surface. It's a sketchy racetrack. It's a small racetrack. So, not taking anything away from them, they had a huge crowd. They had a hell of a deal. But you put 3,000 or 4,000 people in a facility like that, it looks like the Super Bowl. You put 3,000 people in Virginia Motorsports Park, and it looks like it looks like the end of the day. Like, it looks like nobody's there. So, like, it's a different perception, I think, based on the size of the venue. I mean, that's just the way I look at it, I guess. You know what I'm saying? You put 100 spark plugs in a box. The box is this big. It's a lot of spark plugs. But you put 100 spark plugs in the floor of a 28-foot trailer, it's not that many spark plugs.
Yeah, for sure.
So,
Damn, Jim. I mean, I appreciate you sharing the news, the No Time Kings news on the Stat Guy show here. It was definitely took me by surprise. I hope it works out. I really do. The fans can continue to follow No Time Kings on
Yes.
Facebook for all the updates and everything like that. I'm sure you'll have some updates coming out here. And
Well, the biggest thing is that we have to, when you put a race on and you say that you're going to have this big turnout and you're going to have all these people, the people need to be there. You know what I'm saying? Because it's not like even just like the speed promotions deal, they put up $100,000. If 100 grand wasn't enough to draw 128 cars in small tire out to run an event, I mean, I don't know what is. You know what I'm saying? Like, it wasn't like 64 of them broke down on the way there. I mean, they weren't supporting it to begin with. So
right.
I think as racers, you know, there's so many choices out there for everybody. And then you've got family and you've got boating and something's wrong with your feed.
You got me?
I got you now.
Okay, sorry.
That's
It's
okay.
going in and out.
But I just think that, you know, we got some really good stuff. And a couple of the guys in the chat are saying, you know, the Radio 275 stuff, true story. We watched it years ago. And you can, I don't have a crystal ball, but I'm going to tell you the way that deal's going to work. Right now, there's some big money, no time 275 stuff out there, right? Prior to Justin coming and racing in No Prep Kings, Justin and his dad, David Reese, and a couple others were making life hard on the grudge world. Then those races started falling off. The races started falling off because those guys didn't want to come because they couldn't compete with Justin and they couldn't compete with David Reese. And so those big money 275 races kind of went away. Well, now some of those same killers are back over there in that pond again. And it's just going to be, one of those deals where over time, people are going to say, well, I can't compete with that. And that's just not the way to look at it, man. I mean, I race because I want to race. Now, you know, I've went and ran my car in Pro Mod. We're not light enough to run Pro Mod, but I still fare pretty well when I do it. We've won a couple Pro Mod races, so like it's just there. So, you know, same thing going. I don't want to take my stuff to a race. Like I couldn't take the Guardian to an Outlaw Pro Mod race where there aren't any rules. I mean, I'd get my head stomped. But you know, could we take it? You know, we've shown we can take it to where there's a decent rule set and run in the middle or up at the front. So I understand where some of these guys are in the 28 deal, but I guess what I'm getting at is that in the end, and why you see the little gangster class is so big is because there's so many people that can do a 530 28 index and run for big money. That's a pretty good deal. And then it's just the driver and working on the cars. And I like what those guys have done with that class. And, you know, we did a class like that 15 years ago called Cheap Street. It was a success for us. And so I can see it. And I think right now money's tight in a lot of places. And I think guys are just picking and choosing what they go and do. But the biggest thing I think we need to do as racers is we need to put the fun back in it. You know, I seen a post from Dean's wife, from Lindsay. You know, she misses the good times that we used to have, you know, Thursday setup and the hanging out, and everybody was real close. And this year I'm told that like everybody's kind of sticking to themselves and it's not the same vibe. And so I get it. And I think that we've taken the fun out of it along the way. Like Wes Buck has done a great job with the World Series of Pro Mod. I had a ball down there. Absolute had a ball at Wes's races. I can't wait to go back to the Winter Series this year because we're going to have a good time. And, you know, we'll get in where we fit in. So I don't know what the answer is, but I know what the answer isn't.
Yeah, I got you. Well, I hope it works out. I really do. I was excited about No Time Kings. I still am. But like you said, you don't want to put a product out there and lie to the fans about it. You know, you don't want to get hopes up and you can't come through for it. So I definitely respect your looking out for the drivers and the fans at the end of the day. So kudos to you for that. I do want to ask you a couple of your personal racing stuff for yourself, Jim. So you mentioned we see the Guardian. It looks a little different. You got the horsepower for kids logo on the side now.
Yep.
I think I uploaded a picture of it. Did it get? And you mentioned maybe doing some pro mod racing this year. I know you had did one race in the DI Winter Series this last year. What's the future for the Guardian, and did it get any upgrades this offseason?
Yeah, so we did. We upgraded. We got some weight out of the car. Money's been tight. I tore up a bunch of my PJS stuff, and I still haven't got the money to get all that stuff fixed and take care of my stuff to get the 4.9 back in it. But we got a pretty stout 4.8 in it right now that's fast. It's a deal I've been working on for about a year and a half. It's a pretty neat 4.8 deal. We've tested it. It runs fast, but the car's lighter now than it was. So we'll just see how it goes. I've been really waiting to get in and get on a good surface and air it out a little bit. But so for that car this year, I do think we're going to run World Cup. We'll run quarter mile stuff at the end of the year with it. I love doing that. I also built a tribute car to my dad's car that he was known in the Detroit area. Dad in the 70s and 80s ran a 67 Camaro called Bad Boy. I looked for about 12 years to buy that car. We finally found it. 3 months before I found it, the car had been crashed and burned to the ground in Eddyville, Iowa. And so as luck would have it, I found another car that was built in the same era, built nearly identical to the car, and I ended up getting that car, and we've got it. I plan on testing it the next 5 to 6 days, maybe a week, but just based on I've got some stuff I've got to do coming up here in the weeks to come, and that's really where it's at. So right now we'll get ready for the August race in Milan for No Time Kings. I've got the car sitting in No Time Kings prep, or ready to go for No Time Kings. And we were supposed to run the Night of Fire at Milan in 2 weeks, but they canceled it. So I was going to use it as a test session, so I'm not going to get to use it as a test session. We won't be going to Milan for that because it got canceled. But Milan Dragway's done a phenomenal job. The track is amazing. I can't wait to get up there and run. That was my old home track, and can't wait to get up there and race. And we just, it may be one of those deals where I just leave here and go up there and test one weekend just because it is my hometown that I grew up in, and get to check it all out. And that might happen. I've got a lot of fans in the Detroit area who are looking forward to seeing the Bad Boy car and the Guardian. And we may still make a point to go up there and do a little testing. I'll get to see Marty Merlette and hang out with those guys a little bit. But that's really where it's at. We've got a really cool class for the August race in Milan, which is a class. It's anything goes on a 28, as long as it's got steel roof quarters and doors, and as long as it's got an H pattern shifted transmission in it. So that's kind of neat. Tremec has put up a high dollar transmission to give away.
Nice.
And clutch goes to the runner up in that class. It's a neat deal. We got a lot of cool stuff coming up, just nothing that we just need some support right now. And hopefully this will get some racers' attention, being on your show. That, here's the thing. If we don't support this stuff, a year from now, 2 years from now, everybody's going to be whining and complaining, saying, I wish I had a place to race my car. Well, I mean, the races are out there, and if they don't want to support them, and I guess they're going to do something different. And I'm just done. I'm done gate hustling the fans. The fans deserve better. That's the backbone to our sport. And we can't have races where you got a half-ass car count and nobody showing up for it.
I can definitely respect that, Jim. Tomorrow we're already July 1st, and you really haven't raced much at all this year. Normally you would already have 5-6 races under your belt. Is it weird for you to not really have raced yet this year?
It's actually been pretty refreshing, if you want to know the truth. I've been working on there's just some stuff I can't talk about yet, but it'll all make sense. You, let's just say that nothing's stopped on this end. I'm still racing. We'll get a chance to
Okay.
bust out and talk about some stuff in the future. And right now, I got to focus on getting. I've got a couple cars that we have to get finished up, and then it'll all make sense.
Gotcha. I noticed recently you had the GTR up for sale. Is the GTR still for sale? And what classes do you think that car, if it is for sale, what class do you think that car would be perfect for?
The car is for sale, and my son ran it Pro 275. I think the car is perfect for Pro 275. We went fast with it with just a few passes and playing around with it. I think it'll be a good car. And at the end of the day, I've got some plans for it if the car doesn't sell. We're going to do something different with it also, and it might just be one of those deals where it sees a whole different. It might end up with a Nissan motor in it before it's all said and done.
Okay. All right. If you want, Jim, we'll take a couple questions from people in the chat box. I've been noticed a couple questions so far. So if you got a question for Jim, put it in the chat box. So you kind of mentioned a little bit, Jim. You raced the DI Winter Series with the Guardian. You talked about putting the Guardian, making the Guardian like a pro mod and getting it down to weight and everything. As of right now, what do you foresee racing the Guardian in this year, as far as pro mods go?
We will probably run some IHRA stuff with the car.
Okay.
In pro mod.
Okay.
I need to get it. I need to get it out and run it on a prep surface, and I need to get it and see exactly what we weigh. It's an interesting. We have made some headway with the weight on the car, so I need to test it a little bit there. It'll probably be 2026 before the pro mod car is ready to come out, and that's just because of financial strains of my own. I've got bills that I'm trying to get paid from last year. Just everything piled up.
Mm-hmm.
So that's been our focus. Yeah. Horsepower for kids has been our focus, and that's going to continue to be the focus. And we're going to race as many as we can. And I'm looking forward to. I'm going to call you soon, Stat, and I'm going to say, look, I need to be on your show because you remember that stuff I was saying that I was going to announce. Well, I'm ready to announce it now. We've got something really cool that we're working on, and I'm under an NDA. I can't talk about it right now, and that's the problem. It's just taking a long time to do what I want to do, and one of those deals. It'll be really cool. But like I said, I've got an NDA in place on the thing, and all I can say is hurry up and wait. My son asked me earlier. My son asked me earlier today, Dad, have you heard from so and so? Yeah, we're getting closer. But that's just how it is. We've got some irons in the fire we got to get taken care of before I can make these announcements.
I got you. Well, I'm excited to hear what that's going to be. Michael Waite has a question here. It says, how do you feel about Johnny Quick being a part of Milan Dragway?
And I here's the thing. Pam and her husband that own Milan are great people, and they took they were ready to retire basically, but Pam is still there, and Johnny is so Johnny knows. Like I can tell you, I've had a bunch of conversations with Johnny since he took the management position, and I feel like he's going to do a really good job. He's not a bracket racer. He doesn't have a bracket racing background. And there's a lot of bracket racers up there, but I can tell you one thing for sure is that Johnny's a pretty quick study, and he's got a lot of good people in his corner, and that I think will help. And I think what he's doing already has shown. I think he's already shown that he's a force to be reckoned with as a track operator. I think he's going to do a very good job.
That's good to hear. Got to root for Johnny. I like Johnny.
Yeah, man, you can't not like Johnny. I mean, he's a real. I mean, he's a racer. I mean, that's just all there is to it. Johnny is a racer who will make whatever he's got work, and that's great. So he's a good person to be there. And like I told him, there need not be a job at that facility that he didn't know how to do. I grew up, in the drag racing business, and mom and dad owned racetracks from the time I was a kid. And then obviously, we sold out a few years ago, sold our track. But there's no job there that he doesn't want to know how to do. He's going to learn of it before it's all said and done. And that tells me that he's willing to do what it's going to take. And that's what it takes. The track operator has to be able to do it all, from sell hot dogs to, plunge toilets. It's the all in, all done deal.
Mm-hmm. Definitely. Larry Hammonds wants to know if you're going to build a 60s Pro Mod car, and if it's going to be the same color as the Guardian.
It ain't a 60s, but it will have some of the same color in it.
Nice. That's a great color, by the way. I've always loved the color of your cars. I know I'd asked you a while back if it was like a specific coat, and you said no, not really. It's just they kind of just make it up, or kind of just design it as they do it. So
Garrett has perfected that color, and it's his deal. Garrett's Garage in Dunlap, Tennessee. Without Garrett, we'd be stuck. He's the greatest deal. He just painted the bad boy car for me. It turned out phenomenal. And it's another deal. Like Garrett is the Charlie Daniels of a paint gun, man. And so he just does such a good job. It's good. What's really something is that he's getting lots of work now. Perfect people are coming out of the woodwork, getting him to do work, and they're working my little buddy to death. But that's a good thing. But I fear that he's going to get so big he won't know my name. I'll have to set an appointment.
No. Well, hey, Jim, I don't want to keep you all night, buddy. I really appreciate you coming on, as always. It's always fun talking with you, and I always learn something new. The news about No Time Kings. I wish you the best of luck with that. I really do. Any help you need promoting it, trying to get more drivers signed up, I'm here to help you, buddy. I think more drag racing, I should say more opportunities for drivers to race their car is always a good thing. I don't think we want to limit it to only certain races and only certain series. I think if you have a place to race your car, that's what you need. You really need a place to race it. So I understand respect your decision, obviously, to postpone the Galot race. I hope it gets rescheduled. But like I said, appreciate you coming on, Jim. If anybody is interested, you can go to No Time Kings on Facebook and follow that page. They'll have updates about what's going on for this season. And obviously, follow Howe Motorsports on Facebook and YouTube. I wish you the best, Jim. Hopefully, I can come to a race soon. See you race the Guardian. It's been a little while since I've seen you. So hopefully, we can get hooked up soon and watch some good drag racing.
Yeah, man, I appreciate you, Chris. And I appreciate your fans and your listening audience. And I just, there's some people who are going to be disappointed at us postponing the Galot race. And I get it. I understand. But they'd be more disappointed. I'm going to get hated on regardless. If we had the race and nobody showed up, then it's my fault. But the problem is, it's not a one-hit deal. Like you don't go out and have a race, not have a good turnout, because what have you seen for months and months and months? All the bad talk about how there's not enough cars there. There's not enough cars there at other races. I'll not name who those races were, but at other races where fans get on there, there's not enough cars there, and they're complaining. They don't feel like they're getting their money's worth. So my thing is, I'm going to have people who aren't going to like my decision. They're going to hate on the race series. They're going to hate on whatever, and that's fine. But the end of the day is, we're not going to take money from fans and not deliver what I think we need to deliver. It's not in the IHRA's wheelhouse, and it's not in my wheelhouse.
Right.
I think that there's going to be some people who are really surprised at how IHRA and the plans that they have for the future, and how big of an organization it's really going to be, and how big it already is, and people just don't realize it. But I just think that we owe it to our fan base to give them value for their dollar. And I think that if we don't, then all these race cars and all this stuff we got, it's going to be done on a video game somewhere, and it won't be done in person. So we gotta protect what we love so much, and we do that by not taking advantage of the fans, and we do that by getting the kids involved. And that's my plan. So
awesome. I love it, Jim. It's great. As always, much respect to you, sir. Appreciate you coming on, and I will talk to you soon.
Thank you, buddy. Be good, Stat.
Thanks, buddy. See ya.
Yep.